Hello everyone, my name is Johnny Whitfield. I'm the editor of the Courier-Times here in Roxboro. I'm here today with Henry Daniels, and he is a candidate for mayor for the city of Roxboro. We appreciate you coming in and talking with us today.
Thank
I
you.
wonder if you might just tell us a little bit about your background and what you did for a living, what you've been involved in the community and that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, I was born in Person County. Have lived here for all my life. Attended school here. After high school, which I graduated from Roxboro High School at the time, attended East Carolina for a year and a half. After that, I come home and went to work at I come back and went to work for People's Department Store, which was the store that I had worked for before I went away to school. After a year and a half, I come back and they had an opening, so I went to work for them. I worked a year, and then I worked a year, and I left after a year and went to work at the Bootery for a year. And I left the Bootery, and most people sort of remember me from Long's Men's Shop. And I went to work at Long's in about '63, somewhere along there. I worked there for 45 years. So that's where I spent the balance of my time. And a lot of people now, I meet them on the street. It closed in 2000. I believe we closed in 2002. No, we closed in 2012. It's been so long ago, I've forgotten it. And most people now they'll meet me on the street and say, well, who are you? I remember you. And I told them that I worked at Long's Men's Shop at the time. They said, yeah, the last suit I bought come from you. And I said, well, that's the reason. I said, we sold good clothes, and people got so they wanted to go to the golf course or look like they were going to the golf course or picnic rather than dressing up with nice clothes and nice suit. You hardly ever so many people now not wearing ties anymore or just not dressing up. So it became a non-issue as far as a clothing store. Uh, while I was at Long's, I served 6 years in the Army Reserve. I was one of the Vietnam kids, and it was either Vietnam or Army Reserve, and I chose the Army Reserve. I'll never forget. It was 2 bus loads at the time went to Raleigh to be checked for going into service, and I think out of the 2 bus loads, 2 people passed, and so I come back, and Carl Forsyth was a major in a Army Reserve hospital in Durham, U.S. Army Hospital, and so I joined the Army Reserve, served 6 years in the U.S. Army Hospital in Durham, going to meetings once a week, and then once a month in Durham and Fayetteville and all, where we had a lot of that training.
Do you have family? Tell me about your family.
Well, I was married. I have 2 children. I have a son and a daughter. I have a daughter who is a registered nurse in Durham Durham General Hospital. She's in the emergency room. And then I have she graduated from Watts and UNC Wilmington. And I have a son who graduated from North Carolina State, and he's in landscaping. He lives here in Roxboro, though.
Okay.
He likes Roxboro. My daughter likes Durham. She
Right.
lives in Durham. My son lives here.
Okay. And let me ask you about, and I know that you've served on the city council, but talk to me a little bit about some of your community service, some of the things that you've been involved in terms of volunteerism and that sort of thing.
Well, while I was working at Long's, I was real active in the JCs, became president of the JCs. In fact, won the DSA award that they give away every year, and so I was past president of the JCs. In fact, I was lucky enough to be made a life member, and then I was in the Rotary, and have been past president of the Rotary, and I was also at the time, it was president of the Chamber of Commerce, but now I think it's CEO, so I'm a past member of that. So I've been real active in the community and different things, Merchants Association with Long's Men's Shop and all, so uptown. And so that was the main thing, the JCs and the Rotary and the Chamber of Commerce.
So tell me, why are you interested in running for the office of mayor?
Well, I've been on and well, I don't think we mentioned, but I've been on uh, the board of election. I mean, I was in the board of election. I was also on the board of election in Roxboro for several years. But I joined. I ran for city council, and I've been on city council for 10 years. And this is something that I have sort of wanted to do, but the people that know me, I took care of my mother. My mother fell. She worked with me at the store there at Long's Men's Shop when we closed up, and so after we closed up, her hip broke and she fell. And so I took care of my mother in the home for about the last 5 years of her life.
Right.
Lived to be 101.3,
Right.
so I think I did a pretty good job taking care of her. But it's something I wanted to do, and I feel like that after 10 years, if I'm ever going to do it, now's the time to do it. There may come a time, you know, I told my son, I said, you tell me when it's time to hang it up. And so after 10 years, he said, well, Dad, he said, of course, you want to be mayor. He said, I'll support you, but he said, it may be time for you to think about sort of weaning off a little bit, and maybe time to start hanging it up.
Right.
So that was it. I never really had a chance until now because I was taking care of my mother in home. I was the main caretaker. And she died during the last term, and so I never had a chance that I felt like I had the time to offer it until now.
I wonder if you could talk to us about what characteristic or what personality trait you have that you think would make you a good mayor.
Well, I think I'm a people person. That's one thing I'm proud of. I know at the store I had to wait on all types of people. Some that you know maybe that had some money, and some didn't have some money. Some who wanted to buy merchandise, and some who wanted it on credit, and all like that. So I think I'm a people person, and I look at the concept of I think I can help people either. I can help a group of people either to calm down and look at it from a different perspective. Say, well, let's wait a minute now. I see where you're coming from, but maybe somebody else doesn't. I look at it as, you know, if we have a problem, if it's wrong, I'm willing to take responsibility. If it's just so, then okay, we're doing better. Or if you do a good job, then you did it. So it's a I, we, and you deal. I think I can do that, and I just work well with people. I'm willing to listen, sit down, and talk about the issues, and go from there. And I think we can work it out.
And so we all know that nobody is perfect, and I wonder if, as you look at yourself, what do you think your biggest weakness would be in the role of mayor, and how would you see yourself sort of working to overcome that weakness?
Well, the biggest weakness I think is the city council in general. You know, the mayor is mainly conducts a meeting. We work on an idea of a city council, and then we have a city manager who does most of what we want to do. And so the mayor just conducts a meeting. And so having never conducted meetings and all like that, that would probably be my weakest point. But I think it's something that I could very easily adapt to and to help him do.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about what you see as Roxboro's biggest challenge in the next 4 years. I know you all are in the process of addressing some water treatment plant issues, but tell me about the next 4 years. What is the next big challenge for Roxboro?
Well, we do have a wastewater treatment plant that was built back in the 1960s. I remember going there when I was in high school because it was new. Now, 40 years, 60 years later, it's old, and so we're having to make repairs, and so we're having to spend $22 million. This is a expenditure that the state is requiring us to do to get our water in, and we have good water in Roxboro too. So you don't have to worry about drinking water in Roxboro. We have a good plant for water and the wastewater that we're discharging into Tanya's branch or into the creek. We have to clean it, and the gentleman over the wastewater plant says a whole lot cleaner. Says clean enough to drink when they discharge it into the water as wastewater. So that's a big thing. And then other than that, you know, the state has sort of handcuffed most of the counties now, in that you cannot annex without voluntary annexation.
Right.
If we annex somebody into the city, we have to get their approval to do it. And so I think growth is one of the things that we have as a city. We need to grow, and we need to have some of these, especially the places like Fairfield Parks and Lock Ridge, and it's no way that we can get them in unless we voluntary annex. And I know, you know, trying to get those people to volunteer to pay another tax would be a tough road, but it may be sometimes in the future that since we have to provide water and sewer to anybody that's annexed into the city, I think it's tough. So that's growth is a tough situation.
I want to talk to you about the relationship between the city and the county. At times it has been good, and at times it has been strained. And I wonder if you could talk to us about how, as mayor, you would work to make that a stronger relationship.
Well, this is something, and I'll never forget. We had a city county meeting, and I told them one time, they were talking about working together. And I said, well, when we try to do something with y'all, I said, if y'all get mad and we're playing ball, y'all take the ball and go home. You don't try to. I mean, in city council, we sit down and talk about things and work it out. It looks like with the county, some of the problems that they have, they get mad, they go home, they go home and they think about it, and it comes back as personal. Where if you get together after the meeting like we do at city council, we talk about if we have a problem and a problem among us, we talk about it. And I think the communication with the county is the main problem we've had. If we could sit down and talk about them one on one or 3-on-3 or something like 5-on-5, we can work it out and work with it. But they are so much bigger than we are, and we feel like they treat us as the red-headed stepchild, so to speak. It's just a figure of speech, and so we have tried to work with them, and we still want to work with them because we have the infrastructure. They have the money, but we have the infrastructure, and that's where we can work on things like that. And just get together and talk about it. And I think if we can just sit down and talk about these things, that we could go a long ways in making and solving a lot of problems that we have.
Right. You were talking earlier about growth and how the annexation laws sort of limit cities' abilities to grow physically. But a lot of folks would love to see more jobs, better paying jobs in Roxboro. What is the city's role as it involves economic development and job growth?
Well, the economic development is mainly that's a main program that is mainly, well, most of the money and all this is furnished by the county, but the city does give to it. We have an Roxboro Uptown Development Corporation that takes care of the uptown and the businesses that are coming into town, where economic development, the bigger places like Spuntech and all like that, it's mainly the county. Even though we had a big part in bringing Spuntech in and still do, and all, but it's economic development. I think it's tough. I mean, you know, you go out there and people say, well, Mercedes-Benz is going to build a new plant, and why are they bringing North Carolina? Why don't they bring it to Roxboro? Well, it would be a cash cow, that's for sure. But you've got to offer so much, and the incentives now have gotten out of hand as far as as these bigger plants. So I just think it's something that you have to look at it at the time and figure out what you can do.
Right.
And we try to cooperate in any way we can with the county when they have economic development.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time
Well,
to visit
thank
with
you.
us today.
I
Thank
appreciate
you for
asking me.
thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you will go out and vote. Election day is October 10th, and early voting begins on September 21st. Thank you.